Good morning. Guess where I am? I have made it to Dashcon, which is at the Canadian Culture Center. So the wristbands we ended up getting are just regular attendee wristbands. I don't have mine on yet, but it's literally just a strip of paper. So maybe I'll put it on later. But yeah, I just got here, found my table. The layout's a little bit weird, but I do like how the way this hall looks. It kind of looks like a concert hall. I haven't really been here before. I've only been here once, maybe when I was a kid for a field trip, but I know Anime North Halloween tends to take place in this hall. Sorry if it sounds like I'm out of breath. I'm carrying a lot of stuff, you know how it is.
Trust me, it's more than it looks.
All that stuff, so I gotta get started with setup. But yeah, I'm just gonna get down to setup because we only have less than 2 hours left to set up, and it takes me about 2 hours, so gotta get started.
Okay, hang on. Let's hit the brakes for a moment and do a proper intro for people watching this video. Hi, I'm Carefree Jules. I'm a Vietnamese Canadian artist who's been tabling at conventions for about 4 years now, but I've been drawing for about 15. If you're new here and you're just passing by, welcome! You probably have some questions about Dashcon, like, what? Dashcon 2? Where Dashcon 2? How Dashcon 2? So let me provide some context real quick. As I mentioned, Dashcon 2 took place at the Japanese Canadian Cultural Center in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Funnily enough, while the organizers were shopping around for venues to host Dashcon 2, they locked down on a completely different venue that ended up pulling out once they looked into the reputation of the original Dashcon, which, I'm gonna be honest, I don't blame them. When you have the organizers of the original Dashcon beg for money from their attendees and have them chuck cash into a bag, that doesn't exactly inspire confidence for a different event with the same name. It's not run by the same organizers, but I believe one of the guests was someone who was part of Dashcon's original creation. I recommend going to Dashcon 2's website for more information. Otherwise, the rest of this vlog is going to be from a tabling artist perspective, so even though I was technically part of the event, I wasn't experiencing it as an attendee, but I did my best to take as much footage as I could when I wasn't at my table. So if you're here hoping to catch the epic duel between Strange Aeons and Muppet Joker, let me redirect you to this video instead. Okay, on to the rest of the vlog. With my table set up now, let me show you what part of the venue looked like before doors opened to attendees. This thing you see right here is not the ball pit. You'll see the ball pit later in the video.
Alright, I am all set up for Dashcon. Technically, doors are supposed to be open by now, but it's not. What the heck is on my hair? How did that happen? First things first, what are my expectations for this event? Mediocre at best. At worst, I make no money.
Also, I am so sorry in advance for the audio quality. I did my best to remove as much background noise as possible, but if you're having trouble hearing what I'm saying, turn on closed captions.
Because the attendance cap for Dashcon 2 is only 500 people, which is not a lot. I've been to events with at least 1,000, and I make at least table back and a little bit of profit. But this only has about 500 attendees. The only hope I have in terms of those numbers, despite how low that number is the fact that apparently a lot of US attendees are coming to Dashcon 2. I'm guessing because the original Dashcon was in the was in the US. So seeing that there's a Dashcon 2 in Canada, it's just kind of like, hey, that's our con. We should go there and stuff like that. So they're probably coming here to get a sense of how, I guess, the Canadian version would be. There is some hope there, just because given that, you know, a lot of Canadian cons obviously mostly attended by Canadian attendees. Because it's I think it sounded like there was a lot of American attendees coming. I hope that means that more people in terms of US customers are going to be buying stuff, just because they don't see Canadian artists that often, because, you know, tabling in the US, especially nowadays, is a little weird. But the thing I'm most excited about is the ball pit. You might have seen footage of something that was not inflated yet. That's not the ball pit, that's just like something to accompany the ball pit. It's apparently like a bouncy castle duel thingy. I don't know how that's gonna work. So I'm really curious to see how that turns out, because based on the picture that they did send of what the ball pit looks like, it didn't look that big, to be honest with you. It was definitely bigger than the original ball pit, but it definitely wasn't big. But I think with 500 attendees, I think it's a good enough size. I was expecting something a little more extravagant. Why not? I mean, how expensive is it to get to rent out a ball pit, right?
You know what? I retract that statement. I think it's way funnier that the ball pit was similar in size and shape to what the original ball pit looked like, minus the supposed biohazard.
But hopefully I get a chance to check it out, because this is going to be a long day. It's going to be from 9 to 9 p.m. So I don't know what I'm going to do in those 12 hours. I'm probably going to hopefully make some sales and then maybe draw a little bit. Brought my iPad again to get some work done, but it's going to be a long day. So I'm a little starstruck right now. Basically what happened, I didn't know she was going to be here, because I'm not using Twitter anymore and she's not on Twitter. She's not on a Blue Sky. But I am 99.9% sure I just said hi to Amanda from Soul Entertainment. I'm kind of starstruck just because I watch her videos. I don't watch every single one of her videos, but I am a big fan of like the way she critiques events that she goes to, and like also products and things like that. And I saw her walk by and I recognized like her face. She was wearing a mask, so I didn't immediately clock it, but I recognized her glasses, her hair, and I was very tempted to be like, "Are you Amanda from Soul Entertainment?" I didn't want because, you know, in case I was wrong, that'd be kind of embarrassing. That's why I didn't call out immediately. I also don't want to call her out just because I know she has some like social anxiety, so I don't want to, you know, I don't want to startle her or anything like that, because that's crazy. I didn't know she was gonna be here. But I will double check Twitter. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna eat breakfast and I'm gonna head down to Dashcon 2, and I'm like, oh my god, you're here, holy shit. So hopefully she comes by again, because I want to say hi to her properly.
Spoilers, I did not see her again, and had I known beforehand that she was going to be at Dashcon 2, and had I known she was a fan of the Apothecary Diaries, I would have given her my Mau Shaker charm as a gift, and I would have told her about the Tumblr Sexy Man Ribbon Rally, just in case she was interested in participating. But regardless, Swell, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed your time at Dashcon 2, and even in the event you didn't, I look forward to watching your Dashcon 2 video.
Okay, so we're like 2 hours into the con, and I would say it's not that bad. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, because obviously everyone knows that the original Dashcon was a bit of a shit show, and a lot of artists left early because they weren't making any sales. But I would say for a con with only 500 attendees, it's actually not that bad at all. But eventually the momentum's going to die, because with 500 people, eventually the momentum of sales is eventually going to die down. So I would say like something that surprised me about Dashcon 2 so far is that my prints are doing a lot better than my keychains and other trinkets and stuff, which has been surprising, because I find that my trinkets tend to do better. But I find that my prints are actually doing not so bad, so I'm really glad I actually stocked up on some of them for Dashcon and Icon. Something I'm also very, very happy about is that my Dunmeshi totes are actually selling for once. I can't believe it. I'm very surprised by that. I only bought 3 and I already sold 2, so I only have 1 more left for the rest of the con. Yeah, I think other people are surprised by how kind of busy Dashcon 2 is, because I've been wanting to visit a friend. She does a lot of Deltarune stuff and other indie stuff. I've been wanting to like chat with her, but every time I go over, because it looks like from here that she doesn't have a line, she always has a line. So I'm glad that it seems like everyone's doing pretty well so far. Granted, when I'm saying this, I'm not trying to like blow it out of proportion, because like, once again, It is a single day con with attendance of 500 people. I don't want to give the wrong idea of like, oh yeah, let's apply next year. I'm gonna make $1,000. I'm gonna make $5,000. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that in terms of like the expectations we went to going to this event, it was very low. I was just pleasantly surprised that it's actually not so bad. So I definitely think that this event would be better for locals for sure.
Okay, looking over this footage now, the rules are kind of hard to read, but I think I can make out most of it. No jumping or diving, shoes must be worn at all times, no food, drinks, or other fluids in the ball pit, no sharp or loose objects such as jewelry, keys, bags, props, etc. Please leave your bags at the side of the pit before entering. Damn, should I have taken off my fanny pack? I'm not going to do that. My fanny pack has money in it. All paint, including body paint and other makeup, must be fully dry and sealed. Dashcon 2 and Dashcon 2 volunteers are not responsible for lost or damaged items. A maximum of 4 people may enter the ball pit at a time. Participants will have a maximum of 5 minutes in the ball pit. By entering the pit, attendees acknowledge and accept the what risks? Accept the all risks, I think you meant to say accept all risks associated with participation, including, but not limited to, injury, loss, or damage to personal property. The organizers, sponsors, and volunteers are not liable for any such occurrences. Any soiling of the ball pit, including, but not limited to, sneaking in food, drinks, spilling bodily fluids, or otherwise contaminating the area will result in a $1,000 fine on top of cleaning fees and expulsion from the convention. That looks like it says cleaning peas. And here is the famous ball pit. And here's me in the ball pit with my little guys. Also, side note, it's been years since I've been in a ball pit, and I kind of forgot how hard it is to get in and out because you had to find your footing or else you're just stepping and tripping on plastic balls. Or maybe I'm just getting old. No one peed in the ball pit as far as I know, but apparently someone left a yellow piece of paper that just said piss on it.
Okay, I think things are slightly winding down now. I'm probably gonna take this opportunity to go and do that lap around Artist Alley so you guys see the full scope of it. I will say that in terms of vibes, I unironically really like Dashcon 2 so far. There's something very nostalgic and kind of like endearing about seeing all these older fandoms or Tumblr popular fandoms. Like Homestuck and things like that. Even though I'm not into Homestuck anymore, it was my first fandom when I first joined the site. So there's something very fun about tapping into one of your older fandoms that maybe you're not that interested anymore. So I saw like a whole group of like, there's like been a lot of Homestuck people, cosplayers in general, but there was like a whole group that were all together, and I took a photo of them. I don't know, seeing them all of them together, it really brought me back to those days of being really into it. So let me propose that question to you guys. What was your first fandom on Tumblr or elsewhere? It doesn't have to be Tumblr specific. Well, Homestuck was definitely my first fandom on Tumblr. Nothing could move a whole fandom more than just saying the words update. Anyone who's been to Homestuck, you know exactly what I'm talking about. about 2 hours left, and I would say it did die down a little bit, but there was still like sales here and there, so that's nice to have, because I fully expected it to be like, ooh, big momentum, and then just completely nosedives into like no sales at all. But no, it was actually, there was still like bright spots in here, so that's actually really surprising. But I don't know how things are gonna go now. There's still 2 hours left, but the weird thing is that they announced that closing ceremonies is at 7, which is like now. But yet there's still 2 hours left for Art Alley. I guess they're closing out the panels and stuff, and then people have 2 hours left to do the last minute shopping before the venue actually closes. But overall, I honestly really like this con. I think like if they manage to do this again next year, I'm definitely gonna apply. I find it that, especially with this con, I'm not like a big cosplayer or anything. I may mention it in my other vlogs, but anytime I go up to walk around just to like look for things to buy or to just use the washroom, whatever, I find that more people actually came up to ask for a photo because I'm dressed as Frisk, which is like really first. Like I was not expecting it at all. When I dress as Frisk, I don't expect photos at all. I'm literally just in their outfit just because it's comfortable, but also it's just kind of like, I think it's just fun to like dress up as them. Why not? But I find that a lot of people were actually like pointing me out. Like I saw another Frisk walking out, and they pointed to me, was like, they're like, oh, Frisk, and I pointed back. I'm like, oh my god, another Frisk, and then we took photos together. So it was really nice to have those kind of interactions. Because I definitely wasn't expecting it as an artist, so I definitely really like how almost like comfortable people are with talking to each other and like calling out to each other and like making conversations and stuff like that. But I feel like people here are actually like being a little bit more like outgoing, which is a nice thing to experience, because obviously with us artists, we're kind of like stuck back here, doing our thing in terms of like fulfilling orders and like attending to customers. So being able to like go out and being able to actually interact with attendees more, because they're kind of like reaching out to you, is like it's really nice. And I think in turn with like people reaching out to me for photos, I became more comfortable with reaching back out in terms of like asking for a photo in return. So I felt like I took more photos with people for my own like blog, for my own like just having a collection of photos I have taken with other people. So it's nice being able to like come out of your comfort zone a little bit by doing things that you usually don't do. What's interesting is that, talking about this now, I feel like this is kind of like what the original Dashcon tried to achieve, because I feel like Tumblr is I feel like it's like its own world. The reason why Dashcon was such like a novel idea back in the day is because Tumblr was, I feel like it was a platform where a bunch of people with such niche and like weirder interests could get together and actually bond. It almost felt like that's a place where people finally found like their community. But obviously, given how Dashcon, the original Dashcon was organized, obviously that didn't really exactly pan out well. So, but the fact that this Dashcon 2 is actually relatively well organized for all things considered, and just seeing all the people walking around and seeing like how everyone talking to each other and conversing with each other and see so many smiles and cosplays, I feel like this is definitely the Dashcon that the original tried to achieve. And honestly, I do want to see them do this kind of thing again next year. I don't know. We'll see what the future holds, but we have 2 hours left. I don't think I'm going to make too many sales, but I mean, we're just kind of chilling out, and I think we're just going to enjoy the rest of the night.
And that marks the end of Dashcon 2. I know early in the video I was worried that it was going to be a long day, but weirdly enough, those 12 hours flew by. I'm honestly shocked because for as long as I've been tabling, it's usually very tiring, even for other single day events. Like, I don't think there wasn't a time where I wasn't like, ugh, we have X number of hours left, I want to take a nap. But here I was actually getting pretty sad the closer it was getting to teardown. Although, while I was waiting for my ride, I couldn't help but overhear so much non-stop praise from attendees who were leaving and waiting for their rides too, saying things like, "That was the best con ever," or "I had a blast," or "I hope they do Dashcon again next year." And I couldn't stop smiling while hearing all that. I mean, I think all of us went to this with astronomically low expectations given how badly the original Dashcon was organized, but I think it served as a prime example of what not to do, so the Dashcon 2 organizers and volunteers knew what they needed to do to make it a much better experience. And I believe it paid off. While the email communication for artists wasn't the smoothest, if I'm being honest, the staff members and volunteers were so ready and eager to help anyone who needed it. They came by so often to ask if we needed help setting up, reminded us where we could find a volunteer if we needed help, and it really felt like they were looking out for us. Honestly, there's not much else I can say without repeating myself, and I only have my experience as an artist, so if you want to hear or see more what attendees and other people are saying about Dashcon 2, I highly recommend checking out the Dashcon hashtag on Tumblr and sort by news so you can read what people are posting, ranging from memes, shitposts, and genuine and glowing reviews of the event. There was one post in particular that I saw on my timeline about Dashcon 2 that really moved me by Tumblr user Rune's Song. I'm not going to speak for them, but I think they hit the nail right on the head of why the event was such a success, and I highly recommend you give it a read so you can see why for yourself. But I think Dashcon 2 really was this small blip in time where over 500 people got together as a community to relive those years when times felt simpler and less chaotic. And even though things still aren't okay, I think Dashcon 2 made people feel okay even for just a day. So whether you're here just for this video or you've been supporting me and my art for a while, please take care of yourselves, because despite everything, it's still you, and you are not alone. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye! On a lighter note, apparently 3 couples got engaged in the ball pit? What? And people say love is dead.